Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. This is Tony Moore of Boss Up Radio. Today, I just wanted to have a conversation with you with regards to, of course, you, because it's all about you. Ultimately, it's your life, it's your vision, it's your vocation, it's your story, it's your destiny, it's your legacy. So, anytime you hear me say boss up, I know essentially that everything that you do, everything that you speak, you seek, you seize, is all about you and what you think is meant for you. That's what it's all about. I wish someone had told me that years ago, but no one really did because people only do what they know. And what I'm realizing is that there's a lot of people who are reactive more so than proactive. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thanks for joining. Hi, Apostle Cruz. So ultimately, the question of the day is, what are you built on? What are you built on? Ultimately, it's all about you. So when we talk about what are you built on, some people are built on faith. Some people are built on trust. Some people are built on aspirations. Some people are built on blessings upon blessings. Some people are built on expectations. Ultimately, it's the foundation that lays the groundwork. And the great thing about us being who we are is that, hey, Drea, is that we get a chance to control alt delete. Like, even if we don't do it the right way the first time, we can control alt delete. I remember many years ago, I just was like, I knew what I didn't want. So even at 8 years old, 9 years old, I was running away. I was making dreams, goals, aspirations, trying to figure out some kind of way to get out of what I called life, what mama called life, what our daily bread ended up being, whether it was in a soup kitchen, we were running to an abuse shelter, whatever it was. I did not like it. I already knew that this wasn't my life. So I saw how our life was built on, and it was built on a lot of crying and weeping. It was built on a lot of struggle. It was built on a lot of trials and tribulations. And I knew, no, this is not going to be me. So unfortunately, I was too young to have a vision for my life. When we talk about boss, it's built on self-success, or built on success strategies, or built on sacred sacrifices, whatever it is. Ultimately, you have to build upon it based on what you stand upon, right? So when I say, what are you built on? There's a lot of people who are like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you built on? Well, here's the thing. When I realized, hey, good morning, Sabrina. When I realized that it wasn't necessarily about what I didn't want in my life, then I started saying, well, what do I want? Well, no judgment, even if you judge me, whatever, because I'm not that person anymore. But ultimately, I was like, I don't want to be on welfare. I don't want to be in abuse clinics. I don't want to be running in the middle of the night. I don't want to always be changing my addresses. So in my young mind, in the urban society, without someone helping me to understand that the life that I build it's really about what I expect, not necessarily about what's going on, because life is always going to happen, and life doesn't give to us. It just opens up the doors and closes doors, right? So I was like, this is not what I want. I'm going to hook up with a drug dealer, point blank, boom. I'm going to be a hairdresser. I'm going to hook up with a drug dealer, because that's what I saw. And I grew up in church, but I realized that I didn't want to build it on faith, because the faith that I knew was going to church 7 days a week. The faith that I knew was I was going to hell already because of the fact of my thoughts and my thinking and my speaking. And I was just like, well, if I'm going to go to hell already, then that's not the life that I want to build upon. I'm not going to walk that Christian talk. I'm not going to wear my, the clothes that they tell me to wear. I'm not going to do away with what I think is a good life, So I was just like, well, no, I'm not going to build it on Christendom. I'm not going to build it on religiosity. I'm not going to build it on the sanctification of what mama said, right? So I had to choose. Ultimately, you have to choose on what you're going to build your life on. And I promise you, it sometimes when you take an assessment and you take an objective assessment, you're not trying to always be right, because your ego, I promise you, your ego will always make you right. So when you look at your life and say, what am I built on? I want you to just look at, who are you surrounding yourself by? Okay? What are your life goals for the next 6 months? The life goals for the next 1 year, the life goals for the next 3 years and 5 years. Ultimately, what are you building towards? And that's how you're going to help understand and appreciate what you're built on. Next, I want you to just take an assessment about what your credit is, what your assets are. Because what I found was that with the credits and the assets, a lot of people don't even know what their net worth is. So they're just living and they're just picking up some stuff because their beliefs are built on, if I get the labels, then I can prove to everyone that I'm awesome. If I surround myself with athletes and I surround myself with rich people, then everyone's going to assume that I'm rich. People do reputation jacking because when they're built on a superficial grounding, then they will never aspire because it's always based on your foundation. I'm a lawyer, right? So even when I'm helping people start their business, I'm like, okay, what are your foundations? What are you building your business on? What is your business entity? What is that? And so when I look at ourselves as individuals and then ourselves as business owners, it's the same thing because you have to build on self-success, built on success strategies. Are you building the life that you love? Are you building the life that you desire? What is it? Because ultimately, you're ultimately going to get what you're focused on. You're ultimately going to dictate the results. You're ultimately going to be able to hire and fire and transfer at your desire. You're ultimately going to have to be the one to say yes, no, maybe so. You're ultimately going to be the one to have to control, alt, delete. But ultimately, it's that mindset. It's always going to be the mindset. Even when I do business, I always like when people say, we're not doing empowerment today. Boo-boo. You don't know where these people come in from, what their mindset is. Because whether I'm doing a business negotiation, a buy-sell agreement, you don't know what someone is going into and coming from. Whether or not they think that they're worthy of asking for more and selling their business, worthy of asking for more and protecting their assets, worthy of being the mouthpiece for their trademark, for their brand. That's the mindset. When you build your success, built on success strategies that says, I am worthy of more. I am fearfully, wonderfully made to live the life that I desire. I can control what my fate based on my faith. It's not about other people. It's not about expectations. It's not about who doesn't denies you, who respects you, who disrespects you, what other people say. Ultimately, it's going to be all about you. It's ultimately going to be all about you, all about your expectations, all about what your building blocks of success is. Is it going to be hope? Is it going to be peace? Is it going to be love? Is it going to be joy? Is it going to be self-sacrifice? Is it going to be expectations? Is it going to be what you hope and pray that it's meant to be? Because when you don't appreciate that you are creating the story, that you have the control of the mastery of your masterpieces. When you build your business, you don't want to build it on something that's on a stumbling block. You don't want to build it on haystack. You don't want to build it on basic strategies. You don't want to build it on come what may, what shows up. You want to be very proactive about what you're going to build your success on. Build your success on, whether it's going to be the self-sacrifice, but is it going to be self-sacrifice that something is that you can buy into, something that doesn't control you, that gives you the creative space, or is it going to be something else you get a chance to control? You're the boss of your life. You're the boss of your story. You're the boss of what happens next. You're the boss of whether or not you become who God created you to be. You're the boss on whether or not your business is going to be a success or a failure. You're the boss on your credit. You're going to be the boss on your wealth and your health and your bank account, based on what you believe. You got to have a vision in your life that is so much so that it wakes you up, it picks you up, it makes you just jump out of bed and say, you know what, I can do all things. You know what, no good thing will be withheld from me. You know what, I can do this. I am the boss of this. Because as long as you want and you're hoping and not doing, you'll never get it done. So I want you to understand and appreciate that your success, your strategies, your understanding, your appreciation, it's always going to be about you. Nothing else matters. It's about you. Because when God breathed into you, he spoke over you He had plans and purposes for you. He's already had dreams for you. He's already activated what's inside of you. He already is hoping and praying that you do something, that you step up to the next level, that you go where you need to go, because there's already somebody who's looking for you, who's seeking someone just like you who do exactly what you do. So yeah, I didn't know as a child, but here's the thing. When I was a child, I did childish things. When I got a chance to step up by faith and realize what didn't work and what did work, I start operating more in the space and of what did work. See, you got to know what your strengths are. You got to know what your understanding is. You got to know what's next for you. You got to know what's against you. We call that the SWOT analysis, where you know your strengths, you know your weak areas, you know the opportunities and also the threats. You got to know that. They do it in business. So as in business, so you have to do it for yourself. Because when you are building, you're built on your own success strategies. You got to seek to see what else can be, so that you can live your happily ever after, so that you can fulfill a greater destiny, so that you can leave and live and love a legacy that matters. It's not always about today. It's about what you can do today to make yesterday the pains of yesterday go away, but to make tomorrow better. It's all about what you can do today to make today better and tomorrow better. What you can do today. So you got to have that long vision. You got to do away with the short vision, because a lot of us are reactionary because we heard in our spirit we're scratching and surviving. I even heard this one, I think his name is Ernest Pugh, and he's going and singing and singing and singing, I will survive, I will survive, I will survive. God don't want you to survive. He wants you to live your best life. He wants you to be the head and not the tail in business. He wants you to be living more abundantly in your life. He wants you to be the lender and the borrower. He wants you to step up by faith. He wants you to speak what you seek. He wants you to know that all things are possible. He wants you to understand that you can control over every obstacle, that you can transform your realities, that you can fulfill a greater destiny, that your love of him and the love inside of you will help you push up and push through. He also wants you to reach back, and he wants you to teach one and inspire one and ignite one and embolden one and help others appreciate that even in the dark spaces and places, the light within you, the light within you, the light within you will always allow the God of grace, his countenance to shine upon you. That's really with regards to it. Ultimately, you have to do more for you. Ultimately, you have to believe more for you. Ultimately, you have to stop being stuck in the hard places and the spaces, and instead seek to see what else can be. Seek to see what else can be. Seek to see what else can be. I want you to speak those things. Have that expectation in your mouth. Seize the opportunity. When you start speaking and seeking what else can be, that's more positive. You know, when we were children, we were taught happily ever after, but a lot of people was taught that happily ever after came through a man. It came through someone who's blowing on us, breathing on us. It came through a pastor who said, you got it. But what I realized through the trials and the tribulation and the troubles, when you're built on success strategies, you understand and appreciate that God already spoke it into you. He's already designed more for you. He's already designated you as the chief operating, the chief executive officer of your life. He's already given you the beliefs. He's already given you the opportunities. He just wants you to seek to see what else can be. So when anytime you ever hear me say boss up, boss up, boss up, you have to believe that more is possible. You got to own your story. You got to own it. This is my story. This is my faith. This is my song. This is my business. This is my marriage. This is my children. This is my community. This is my church. Own that story. And then you got to speak what you seek. You got to seize the opportunities, okay? You got to use your God-given brilliance, and then you got to protect yourself, because we hear often that the devil will come to steal, kill, and destroy. He's always on his mission. You will always see haters and pontificators and regulators and imitators, but ultimately, who cares? No good thing will be withheld from you. No good thing will be withheld from you when you believe that more is meant for you. So this is Toni Moore of Boss Up Radio. Hopefully this was good for you. We'll talk real soon. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me on Boss Up Radio today. You know, whether I'm empowering you to just ignite your life, to live your best life, or I'm giving you some education with regards to the business law strategies that I've learned for over 20 years, or I'm ultimately just in your face and saying, what's next for you? You have to make a decision as to what is next for you about your life. What's next to you about your love life? What's next to you with regards to your spiritual life, your personal life, your financial life? even your success life. Yes, you get a chance to be who you want to be. You get a chance to choose you this day, whether or not you're going to be your best person or your worst person. Choose you this day, whether or not you're going to be a victim or you're going to be a victor. Choose you this day, whether or not you're going to be complacent or if you're going to be compelling. Choose you this day, whether or not you're going to be broke, busted, and disgusted, or you're going to be brilliantly stepping out on faith to be bigger, better, more than you've ever seen before. Whether or not you're going to be a spectator or a creator, a pontificator or a participant. Ultimately, you get a chance to choose because you are the boss of your life. You are the boss of your story. You are the boss of your legacy. You're the boss of your destiny. So what is it going to be? Ultimately, what is it going to be? Are you going to start a business? Are you going to write a story? Are you going to get a divorce? Are you going to seek counseling with regards to your love life? Are you going to seek financial counseling with regards to your credit history? Are you going to talk to your banker about why you're not making your payments? Are you going to be truthful to you? That's a hard one, right? To be truthful to yourself, because ultimately the life we live it's going to be, as grown as we are, the life we live is based on our choices. So if it's not working for you, you know what to do. You need to control something, you need to alter something, or you need to delete something, because this is your story. This is your life. This is your destiny. This is your legacy. If the business isn't working, then choose you this day whether or not that you're going to find an advisor, find a coach, or if you're just going to start all over. It's your decision. It's your choice. And there's no right or wrong answer. Of course, it has to be legal. So there's no right or wrong answer except if it's not legal. If it's not legal, it's already a wrong answer. If it's going to take away from you, take away from your brilliance, take away from your shine, then it's not a good response. It's not a good answer. But people do what they want to do, right? People do what they want to do. Ultimately, people still marry who they're not supposed to marry because they know in their spirit that these people are raggedy. Ultimately, people have businesses with other people that they know good and well. It doesn't really work for them. But you know what? That's usually what happens as well. And ultimately, we can blame a bad boss. We can blame a bad marriage. We can blame a bad pastor. We can blame a bad lawyer. We can blame a bad accountant. But guess who's ultimately going to be responsible? We are. The person in the mirror, that's who you have to answer to. The person in the mirror, that's who you compete with. The person in the mirror, that's who you're molding and shaping each and every day. That's whose story that you're creating. So when you work your gifts, when you understand that more is possible, when you plant your feet on solid ground, when you invest in yourself at your level of, at not just your expectation, but your declaration. If you're going to be like, I'm boss, then you have to choose you this day to be boss. Don't always be thinking about a consumer. Oh, it's too much. Oh, they want money from me. When you're boss, you hire, you fire, you pay for it, you cultivate, but you own it. You own the failure just as much as you own the success. You own whether or not you had a good JV partnership arrangement or if you had a very bad one because you didn't do your due diligence. So ultimately, we can no longer blame other people. We just can't do it. No, we're not going to do it anymore. We're not going to do it anymore. We're not going to blame other people. We're just going to ultimately choose to be the best that we can be. Choose that we are responsible for who we are. Choose to be better. Choose to learn the lesson. Choose to accept defeat where there is defeat. Choose to seek to see who the next expert is, who can take us up, who can help us up level to the next level. And then ultimately we have to choose where we're going to go. What's our next footstep? What ultimately do we want? When you're built on self-success, based on your self-sacrifices, based on your what you speak and what you seize, then you understand and appreciate that no good thing can be withheld from someone who is obsessed about getting to the next level, obsessed about stepping up to the next level, obsessed about obsessed about being the best version of themselves. Are you obsessed about your success? You got to get so obsessed about your success that there's no more options. No, because when there's no options, there's no obstacles. And when there's no obstacles, then there's opportunities. And when there's opportunities, then you get to the place that you've never seen or heard before. Ultimately, I want to get to the place in the space that I've never seen or heard before. Don't you? We got to build our own self-success. Most of us, I'm a brown girl, so most of us, we don't get trust funds. We don't get family members who support us who can give us $1 million. We don't get $100,000 to say invest in yourself. We don't get 3 years to take off so that we can write a book. No, we got to be mom. We got to be parallelpreneurs. We got to market ourselves. We got to seek out the coaches and fire some coaches. We got to look for the speaking opportunities. We got to find a VA. Then we got to do our laundry. Then we got to call the plumber. Then we got to take care of our husbands and take care of our kids. That's what life is about when you are building your success story, your success journey, and you're building it on solid ground, knowing that it's up to you. It's up to you to make your dreams come true. So no more BS. It's time to build our own success. It's no more BS. We got to build our own success. We got to build our own financial success. We got to build our own business success, career success, family success, community success, faith success. Whatever success looks like to you, you have to build it. It's not given to you. It's not handed to you. You can't buy into it. No, you have to manifest it from the inside out. So this is Toni Moore on the Boss Up Radio Show. Thank you so much for coming and joining me on Take Charge Tuesday. We'll see you soon.